Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India NewsHour, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up over the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi charges the Congress of being addicted to amending the Constitution, says Nehru amended the Constitution and attacked freedom of expression. "13 Indian nationals arrive home from Syria. India successfully evacuates 77 Indian nationals in all from the conflict zone." South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol remains defiant after impeachment over martial law bid, vows to fight for his political future. And lawmakers in Georgia elect hardline critic of the West as the new president. Of 225 elected as president, 224 voted for Kavelashvili, who was the only candidate nominated. Now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasized key amendments aimed at ensuring India's unity, like the abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir and the implementation of the Uniform Civil Code, reflecting the vision of the Constitution's framers. While participating in the debate over Indian Constitution in the lower house, he also praised women's role in shaping the nation's progress, emphasizing preservation. He also targeted the Congress as well for what he said was its habit of amending the Constitution. Take a look.
Highlighting important amendments brought by his government to keep the unity of India intact, Prime Minister said his government is committed to implement Uniform Civil Code as it reflects the vision of the founding fathers of the Indian Constitution.
समान नागरिक संहिता, यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, ये विषय भी संविधान सभा के ध्यान बाहर नहीं था। संविधान सभा ने यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को लेकर के लंबी चर्चा की, गहन चर्चा की, और उन्होंने बहस के बाद निर्णय किया कि अच्छा होगा कि जो भी सरकार चुन करके आए वो उसका निर्णय करे और देश में यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड लागू करे। और उसी संविधान की भावना को ध्यान में रखते हुए, संविधान निर्माताओं की भावनाओं को ध्यान में रखते हुए हम पूरी ताकत से लगे हुए हैं सेक्युलर सिविल कोड के लिए। और आज कांग्रेस के लोग संविधान निर्माताओं की भावना का भी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट की भावना का भी अनादर कर रहे हैं।
Prime Minister highlighted the steps taken by NDA government to bring unity in the country through various schemes and initiatives. He said Article 370 was abrogated in Jammu and Kashmir and one nation, one tax has been implemented in the country.
अगर आप हमारी नीतियों को देखेंगे, पिछले 10 साल देश की जनता ने हमें जो सेवा करने का मौका दिया है, हमारे निर्णयों की प्रक्रिया को देखेंगे तो भारत की एकता को मजबूती के देने का निरंतर हम प्रयास करते रहे हैं। आर्टिकल 370 देश की एकता में रुकावट बना पड़ा था, दीवार बना पड़ा था। देश की एकता हमारी प्राथमिकता थी, जो कि हमारी संविधान की भावना थी, और इसलिए धारा 370 को हमने जमीन पर उतार।
On the country's rapid economic expansion, the Prime Minister said India is committed to become a developed nation and it will become a third largest economy in coming years. Lauding the glorious journey of the Indian Constitution during the last 75 years, Prime Minister stressed on the contribution of women in framing the Constitution.
मौलिक चिंतन के आधार पर उन्होंने संविधान सभा की डिबेट को समृद्ध किया था, और वे सभी बहनें अलग अलग बैकग्राउंड थी, अलग अलग क्षेत्र की थी, और संविधान में उन्होंने जो जो सुझाव दिए, उन सुझावों का संविधान के निर्माण पर बहुत बड़ा प्रभाव रहा था। और हमारे लिए गर्व की बात है कि दुनिया के कई देश आजाद भी हुए, संविधान भी बने, लोकतंत्र भी चला, लेकिन महिलाओं को अधिकार देने में दशकों बीत गए थे। लेकिन हमारे यहाँ शुरुआत से ही महिलाओं को वोट का अधिकार संविधान में दिया गया।
Taking a dig at the Congress party, Prime Minister said it left no stone unturned in attacking the spirit of Indian Constitution during one family rule for 55 years. He said when the Constitution was completing its 25 years, an emergency was imposed by the Congress and the constitutional rights were denied.
जब देश संविधान के 25 वर्ष पूरे कर रहा था, उसी समय हमारे देश में संविधान को नोच लिया गया, इमरजेंसी आपातकाल लाया गया। संवैधानिक व्यवस्थाओं को समाप्त कर दिया गया, देश को जेल खाना बना दिया गया, नागरिकों के अधिकारों को लूट लिया गया, प्रेस की स्वतंत्रता को ताले लगा दिए गए। और कांग्रेस के माथे पर जो पाप है ना, वो कभी भी धुलने वाला नहीं है, कभी भी धुलने वाला। यह सर्व हिंदुता है। दुनिया में जब जब लोकतंत्र की चर्चा होगी, कांग्रेस के माथे का ये पाप कभी धुलने वाला नहीं है, क्योंकि लोकतंत्र का गला घोंट दिया गया था। भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की तपस्या को मिट्टी में मिलाने की कोशिश की गई थी।
Prime Minister concluded his speech with 11 resolutions focusing on fundamental duties, zero tolerance on corruption, respect for constitution and women-led development. Vishal Barrister's report for DD India.
Well, let's talk about how this debate was carried forward related to the adoption, 75 years of the adoption of the Indian Constitution, particularly how Prime Minister Modi responded to all the speeches that came before him. We have senior journalist Ashok Tandon with us. Good evening to you, Mr. Tandon. What do you make of how things went as far as the 75 years of the adoption of the Constitution is concerned? Because the opposition, of course, tried to corner the government on a lot of issues that it has been raising. But what do you make of the Prime Minister's response to that?
See, Prime Minister today demolished all the allegations of the opposition. You know, the opposition has been using this as a chorus, as the Constitution of India is in danger. But point by point rebuttal by the Prime Minister of all the allegations. In fact, he took the debate to the court, to the side of the opposition, when he, narrated the instances of, subverting the Constitution by successive Congress governments over the years, over the decades. And he put the opposition on the map, particularly the Congress party. Because from day one, since the first constitutional amendment and to the emergency and subsequent, conduct of Mr. Rahul Gandhi when he, destroyed the cabinet, decisions, etc. So I think today he put the opposition on the back foot on this very issue of constitutional debate. And I think from my experience, I can, say that henceforth, perhaps the opposition will not raise any bogey about threat to the Indian Constitution. And as you were also very rightly mentioning, the 11 resolutions which the Prime Minister put before the House today and to the country as such were the positive commitments of his government. And that included, not only the development project, but also, he was also talking about the duties of the citizen. So I think overall, Prime Minister scored very, very valid points during his marathon speech and reply to the debate. And the point was well taken by the media as well, that henceforth there should not be any talk about threat to the Indian Constitution, so long as Prime Minister Modi is in the saddle.
What do you make of the contrast that he drew between how there were amendments to the Constitution before 2014 and then thereafter?
As we also heard the Prime Minister talking about the, about the Congress party particularly, which he said will be remembered for trying to stifle India's democratic institutions by imposing emergency. And the whole country was converted into jail and the fundamental rights were suspended. No, that is a slur on the face of the Congress, which will continue to, remind the people whenever there will be a discussion about democracy, the derailment of democracy by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi by imposing emergency will always be remembered. So I think it's silence. I think it was a very intelligent move on the part of the Prime Minister to silence the opposition, particularly the Congress party, in so far as the Constitution of India is concerned. So and then he attacked the Congress on so many. He said that then he a positive tone. The Prime Minister put forward before the Parliament the achievements of his party, the contribution of his party towards emancipation of the downtrodden, empowerment of women, and all the developmental projects, including certain historic decisions of abrogating Article 370. So these positive developments, the achievements of this government, initiatives of this government, along with commitments on so many fronts, which the Prime Minister outlined today, I think that was the highlight of the debate, the reply to the debate today.
And in terms of putting across how not just the letter but the spirit of the Constitution has also been taken forward through the course of these recent years, do you feel that the Prime Minister made a lot of points on that account as well?
See, the Prime Minister was unscathing in his attack on the main opposition Congress party, and he went on reminding them what all sins they have committed towards the Constitution, what misdeeds they have done and how they have been misleading the nation. And now he says the current generation of the Gandhi family, they are taking forward legacy of attacking Constitution after tasting blood long back. So tasting blood, which means that they have been derailing the constitutional provision, and that is exactly what they are doing. So they did not follow its own constitution also. They made Nehru the leader when state units had supported Sardar Patel. No, he went on to the history that what exactly happened during the successive regimes of the Congress party. As far as his own government is concerned, the Prime Minister said that we own up our constitutional amendments, and they have not been done to further any grip on power, but it was done with the welfare of the country's unity and empowering women and the OBC. So positive note also, I think, was another hallmark of Prime Minister's reply today, wherein all the achievements and the initiatives taken by his government, not only to protect the Constitution, but also to ensure equitable distribution as federal structure, economic strength, India becoming, economic power. So all these achievements, it was an opportunity for the Prime Minister to outline not only his future agenda, but at present what the government of India has been doing and what exactly the government has done in the last 10 years. So I think he scored all the points insofar as the debate on the Constitution is concerned.
Certainly also talked about how 250 million people have been brought out of poverty over the last 9 to 10 odd years through the efforts of his government because it's been following what the Constitution laid down. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about it, Ashok Tandon. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Syrians celebrate the fall of the Assad regime on the streets of Damascus as high-level talks are on in Jordan to deliberate the nation's fate. Russia and Ukraine intensify attacks on each other's energy infrastructure. And Iran pledges not to impede the United Nations nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, from inspecting its nuclear facilities.
Nature could easily survive without us. We, however, couldn't really survive without it. But with these environmental problems, how do we make sure to secure our future? Let's find out.
So you just have to bring the sand from one place where it's not needed to the other place where it's needed. So that's called sand bypassing, sand nourishment. So that's the heart of the project.
Remediating the wetland will mean that the life of the wetland comes back to it. And if that happens, there will be money in every household inside that depends on the river.
It doesn't matter whether a farmer is educated, uneducated, skilled or not. This is a user-friendly app. A single touch is all it takes to operate and control the system. Anyone can use the app.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I am Gautam Roy. Now, as tensions escalate in Syria, the Indian government has successfully evacuated 77 Indian nationals, several of whom returned to their homeland today. The individuals were deeply emotional and expressed their gratitude for the assistance that was given to them. And they extended heartfelt thanks to the government of India and Prime Minister Modi for ensuring their safe return. DD India's Siddharth Bhardwaj reports.
Amid the ongoing crisis in Syria, a heartfelt homecoming unfolds here at the IGI airport in New Delhi. The government of India has successfully evacuated 77 Indian nationals who are now returning to the safety of their homeland. As they step off the plane, it's a moment of relief and reunion as families await their loved ones. A sense of relief and joy is clearly visible on their faces, as after days of turmoil in Syria, they are finally returning home safely. Right now, they say, it's the best thing happening to them, and that without Indian government's assistance, nothing would have been possible. They also thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Because of our Indian embassy in Damascus, we were shifted to Lebanon very smoothly. हमें कोई भी दिक्कत नहीं हुई. And finally, हम लेबनान में गए. Same हमारे साथ वैसे ही सब रहा, सब बहुत अच्छे से हुआ, बहुत स्मूथली हो गया. हमें पता ही नहीं चला, जैसे घर में चीजें होती है, बड़ा होता है, सबका ख्याल रखता है. बिल्कुल सेम कंडीशन थी.
ये सब जो हुआ है आज हम यहाँ पे सेव खड़े हैं, वापस खड़े हैं, तो ये मोदी जी की वजह से ही है. मोदी जी के जो डायरेक्शन में जो भी हुआ है, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर ने जो भी किया, एग्जीक्यूट किया है, और इंडियन एम्बेसी जो दमस्कस में थी और लेबनान में है जो है, इतना अच्छे से कोऑपरेट करके उन्होंने इतना अच्छे से एग्जीक्यूशन किया ना, no doubtly perfect.
The government of India successfully evacuated 77 Indian nationals stranded in Syria amid escalating violence. This action comes as part of India's ongoing efforts to protect its citizens caught in the violence of the region.
लेबनान एम्बेसी और सीरिया एम्बेसी ने सर हमको बहुत अच्छा कोऑपरेट किया, किसी तरह का कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुआ, और मोदी जी ने भी जो है हमारे उस बहुत सहयोग किया जी, है ना, तो हम मोदी जी से बहुत खुश हैं सर जी, जो ना.
So far, 13 Indian nationals have arrived and more are expected in the coming days.
In view of the deteriorating security situation in Syria, Government of India has safely evacuated 77 Indians from the conflict zone. The process of evacuation is likely to continue till the first week of January next year.
The evacuation operation was carried out with the coordination of Indian embassies in Syria and Lebanon as the government continues to monitor the situation closely. The government of India continues its efforts to ensure safe return of citizens as the evacuation operation moves forward. With camera person Anand Kashyap, this is Siddharth Bhardwaj reporting for DD India in New Delhi.
As for the situation in Syria itself, the fall of President Bashar al-Assad and his regime has sparked waves of celebration and major diplomatic efforts to shape the nation's future. The focus now shifts to Jordan, where high-level talks will determine the next steps for Syria. Here's the latest.
These are visuals of celebrations in Syria. Fireworks lit up Syrian skies. People are celebrating on the streets and are calling it the Friday of Victory. Thousands of jubilant Syrians rallied at Damascus landmark Umayyad Square, waved revolution flags and rejoiced the downfall of the Assad regime, a moment many thought impossible just a week ago.
We came here today to Umayyad Square because we missed our fellow Syrian citizens. We have missed each other. We have been split up for over 40 years. Today we came to see each other and celebrate because the one who separated us is gone.
I came here to share in the joy of the people. You can see the joy in their eyes. Children, adults, and the elderly, everyone. There are no words to express the joy of all these people.
Rebel forces have liberated over 4,000 detainees from the notorious Sadnaya prison, infamous for its brutal treatment of prisoners. Families have flooded prisons and morgues, searching for long-lost loved ones. Jordan is hosting a critical meeting on Sunday in Aqaba, bringing together diplomats from the US, EU, Turkey, and Arab nations. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is among the key figures discussing Syria's political transition following Assad's fall. The fall of Assad has triggered significant regional shifts. Turkey is reopening its embassy in Damascus after a decade-long closure, marking a major diplomatic shift. Meanwhile, Qatar plans to send a delegation tomorrow to meet the transitional government and discuss aid and restoring diplomatic ties. Meanwhile, reports suggest that Russian forces are withdrawing equipment from key Syrian bases, hinting at a potential military retreat. From joyous celebrations to intense diplomacy, Syria stands at a critical juncture. With a transitional government forming and international eyes watching, the nation faces the challenge of building a new path forward. Bureau Report, DD India.
Georgia's ruling party installed far-right Mikheil Kavelashvili as president amid a constitutional crisis and pro-EU protests. The opposition, boycotting the election, condemned the process as illegitimate, backing Salom Zurabishvili as the rightful leader. Ongoing protests have led to arrests and international criticism has been mounting. Syed Absarul Hassan reports.
Georgia's ruling party installed far-right loyalist Mikheil Kavelashvili as president on Saturday amid a deepening constitutional crisis and weeks of mass pro-EU protests. Kavelashvili was elected by an electoral college controlled by the ruling Georgian Dream Party with 224 votes in a controversial election process boycotted by the opposition. The opposition has condemned the election as illegitimate, affirming that the sitting president Solomon Zurabishvili remains the country's only legitimate leader. Protesters gathered outside Georgia's parliament building on Saturday morning, which was cordoned off by police ahead of an evening rally.
I think that this election in October were rigged, so any actions that will be taken after these rigged elections cannot be legal. So we don't even think about the outcome of these fake elections that they have tomorrow, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any sense. There is only one party in the parliament who is making this decision. There will be no opposition, so there is no Georgian people's voice participating in this election.
Georgia has been in turmoil since the ruling Georgian Dream Party claimed victory in contested October parliamentary elections. Tensions flared further last month when the party delayed European Union membership talks, sparking fresh waves of mass rallies. Police have used tear gas, water cannons and arrested over 400 demonstrators during ongoing protests. Amnesty International condemned the government's use of brutal tactics, including arbitrary detention and torture. As international criticism grew, French President Macron expressed a strong support for Georgia's European aspirations, and the US imposed sanctions on Georgian officials accused of undermining democracy. Syed Absarul Hassan reporting for TT India.
Russia and Ukraine have intensified attacks on each other's energy infrastructure. Russia launched large-scale airstrikes on Ukraine in retaliation to Ukraine's missile strikes. On Saturday, Ukraine hit a fuel storage facility in Russia's Oryol region, causing a fire and damaging nearby homes. Meanwhile, the European Union plans new sanctions on Russian intelligence agents over Moscow's hybrid attacks on the bloc.
3 days after attacking an oil depot in Russia's Bryansk region and a military airfield on the Azov Sea, Ukrainian drones struck an infrastructure facility storing fuel in central Russia's Oryol region on Saturday, sparking a fire and shattering windows in nearby homes. Russia and Ukraine conflict continues. Both are attacking each other's energy facilities. On Friday, Russia launched a large-scale aerial attack using precision weaponry targeting key Ukrainian fuel and energy infrastructure. The strike was a response to Ukraine's use of the US-supplied MGM-140 Army tactical missile system.
How one would live here? No power, no heating, no gas, no water, nothing good. Many people are still here. 9-10,000 approximately. People need to move somewhere and where it's warmer. Some people live in their private houses, some went to their relatives.
Meanwhile, European Union has agreed to a new raft of sanctions against Russian intelligence agents on Monday in response to hybrid attacks against the bloc. The EU and NATO have accused Moscow of orchestrating destabilizing incidents including arson, cyber attacks and efforts to interfere in Western elections. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, Iran has pledged not to obstruct the United Nations nuclear watchdog from inspecting its nuclear facilities, according to Mohammad Islami, head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization. Islami emphasized that Tehran remains committed to allowing access for inspections. The International Atomic Energy Agency, or the IAEA, has raised concerns about Iran's rapid enrichment activities, noting that it has multiplied its efforts at Fordo fuel enrichment plant. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. We'll be speaking with our expert guests about what's in store for South Korea following the impeachment of its president, who remains defiant. And the National Energy Conservation Day is to raise awareness for adopting energy efficient practices.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, South Koreans burst into cheers and tears after their country's parliament voted successfully to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol. The second vote by the opposition-led parliament came over his short-lived attempt on the 3rd of December to impose martial law in the country. Yoon's presidential powers and duties now stand suspended, but he's vowed he won't give up. The matter now goes to Constitutional Court for review. It has now got 180 days to determine whether to dismiss Yoon as president or restore his powers. Fuzail Ahmed reports.
South Korean lawmakers on Saturday voted to remove President Yoon Suk-yeol from office for his failed attempt to impose martial law on December 3rd. Out of 300 lawmakers, 204 voted to impeach the president on allegations of insurrection, while 85 voted against. 3 abstained, with 8 votes nullified.
I would like to announce the results of the vote. The motion to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol received 204 votes in favor and 85 votes against, out of a total of 300 votes cast. With 3 abstentions and 8 invalid votes, I declare it passed.
After the impeachment, South Korean President Yoon will remain in office, but his presidential powers will remain suspended. However, Yoon vowed not to give up.
I will never give up. I will do my best for the country until the last minute, taking reprimand, encouragement and support for me in mind.
So what happens next? The impeachment process moves to the Constitutional Court, where justices will review the case to determine whether Yoon's removal is justified. The court now has up to 180 days to determine whether to dismiss Yoon as the president or restore his powers. If the court upholds the impeachment, Yoon will be removed from office. If he is thrown out of office, a national election to choose his successor must be held within 60 days. If convicted, the leader could face death penalty or life imprisonment. Yoon earlier exercised the presidential privilege of immunity from criminal prosecution. However, that does not extend to allegations of rebellion or treason. Under the constitution, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, who was appointed by Yoon, becomes acting president following impeachment.
I will give all my strength and efforts to run this state administration stable during this difficult time.
So who is Prime Minister Han Duck-soo? Han Duck-soo was appointed as Prime Minister after Yoon was elected in 2022. Han has expertise in economy, trade and public affairs and was Prime Minister during the Roh Moo-hyun administration from April 2007 to February 2008. He spent more than 40 years in the public sector, including the Customs Agency, Trade Ministry and Finance Ministry. He also served as an ambassador to the United States. The vote took place as hundreds of thousands took to the streets of Seoul in rival rallies for and against Yoon, who launched a failed attempt to impose martial law on December 3rd. Many celebrated, while Yoon supporters termed it unfortunate.
In my view, the lawmakers in the National Assembly seem like bad people. It breaks my heart and makes me feel despair to see lawmakers trying to depose our president and trying to seize power themselves.
It was the second attempt to impeach Yoon after the first vote was boycotted by his conservative People Power Party. The impeachment came following his short-lived attempt to impose martial law on December 3rd. His move had shocked the nation and split his party. Fuzail Ahmed reporting for DD India.
So what now lies in store not only for South Korea but also for now suspended President Yoon? Let's find out. We have Ambassador C. Rajshekhar with us, former senior diplomat. He served in different capacities for the country across the globe, including in Korea as well. Good evening to you, Ambassador Rajshekhar. What do you make of what has happened in the first place, and why do you think President Yoon is not giving up, after having been impeached when an attempt was made for a second time to get him out of office?
Good evening. As the impeached president himself said, it is his nature that, he wants to fight till the end. And also, you can see that 85 members of his party have opposed the motion of impeachment. That means there is some residual hope for the president impeached. They would like to utilize this to negotiate the terms. Of course, the way ahead is clear that the president lost, as we have discussed last week also. But perhaps they would like to decide the terms as to how best to soft land from here onwards. That is, how to ensure the dignity of the office of the president, how to ensure that the proceedings from now onwards go smoothly in accordance with the Constitution of Korea.
How ironic do you think it is that the last president who was impeached, President Yoon, was part and parcel of that process as a prosecutor, although the Constitutional Court will now decide his fate, and he has reason to believe that even when the chips are down as far as losing this impeachment vote is concerned, the Constitutional Court can still save him, as it has again also happened in the past, in 2004.
Now there is not a political but a mathematical possibility, which is now the focus shifts to the Constitutional Court of Korea. There should be, the full strength is 9 members, only 6 of them are present now. So the requirement is for the impeachment to become final. 6 of the Constitutional Court members have to affirm it. In case even one of them dissents, then president may survive. So that is a mathematical possibility, but I won't much count on that personally, because the mood of the nation is loud and clear in support of democracy and would like the impeached president to go. I think more than 70% of the public opinion polled supports that. And also you saw the numbers, 204, which means even members of the opposition also voted. Suppose first time
yes.
on Saturday, 7th, when the first impeachment motion was tried, only 190 voted. Out of that, 18 were from the party of the president. This time the number had clearly gone up, 204 supporting the motion, only 85 out of 108 opposing the motion. So the mood is very clear that they would like to see the president who has committed a grave mistake in imposing martial law and trying to take the democratic process of the country backwards. So that is the mood. Now it will be up to the judicial determination. The Chief Justice said that Monday the court would convene and examine this to take the process forward, and they would have 6 months to do. And we have in the past, the process was completed in about 2 to 3 months' time.
And isn't that too long for South Korea to live in sort of suspended animation? What does that do to stable function of the government and the conduct of Korea's affairs, not just domestically but even internationally, where it has a very adverse immediate environment in terms of its neighborhood?
Yes, indeed. That's why the chief of the Constitutional Court has mentioned that he would try to conclude the proceedings swiftly and fairly. He has underlined the need to do it swiftly also, because such a suspended situation is not good for the country in international standing, in terms of its economy, for the welfare of the people, public interest, and also in the light of not very peaceful, friendly relations with the North Korean neighbor.
All right. Well, let's see how swiftly do things, how swiftly are they taken forward. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about it for the moment, Ambassador Rajshekhar.
3 cheers for democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, energy conservation is essential for reducing environmental impact and saving costs. National Energy Conservation Day is celebrated on the 14th of December every year with the purpose of raising awareness about the importance of conserving energy and natural resources. India has set in motion an ambitious plan to adopt 500 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030. This report tells us more.
India celebrates National Energy Conservation Day annually on December 14th to raise awareness about conserving energy and natural resources. This day showcases India's remarkable achievements in energy efficiency as well. The Bureau of Energy Efficiency is empowered by the Energy Conservation Act of 2001 to play a key role in energy conservation. Apart from awareness campaigns, Energy Conservation Awards recognize the efforts of industrial units, institutions and establishments in reducing energy consumption. There are several ways individuals can conserve energy. Switching to LED lighting, optimizing heating and cooling methods, ensuring energy-efficient windows, promoting the use of public transport, carpooling and electric vehicles.
There's a huge disruption taking place, and it's important that we accelerate the pace of electric vehicles, both in two-wheelers, three-wheelers, which account for about 75% of our vehicles. And the government has already allocated 57,613 crores for procuring 10,000 electric buses.
At the policy level, there's a strong emphasis on renewable energy. India's renewable energy capacity has reached 213.7 gigawatts, with an ambitious target of 500 gigawatts by 2030.
We increased awareness about the need of sustainable energy sources by encouraging domestic manufacturing. In the solar sector, we increase availability. Through specific schemes and incentives, we also made the solar option affordable.
The Bureau of Energy Efficiency promotes energy efficiency via standards, labeling, building codes, and energy efficient appliances. Additionally, the National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency targets large industries with policy measures and incentives. Energy conservation remains a vital component in reducing environmental impact and saving costs, showcasing India's commitment to a sustainable future. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, beyond a symbolic occasion, this day serves as a clarion call for individuals, industries and institutions to adopt energy-efficient practices, setting the stage for a greener and more harmonious future. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar addressed as chief guest the National Energy Conservation Day function in New Delhi. He drew attention to the fundamental duty in the Constitution calling for conservation of environment. He added that it is a collective to the entire humanity and therefore an obligation on us that there has to be optimal utilization of resources, optimal utilization of energy.
Constitution has given us fundamental rights, but also fundamental duties. And when there is a challenge in the family, in society, in a group, or before the nation, we relegate our rights and give precedence to duties. I invite your attention in particular to Article 51, capital A. It is just not constitutional guidance. It has to be way of life with us. If we focus on those duties, energy conservation will be one of them. Equitable growth will be another. And these things, these duties are to be performed by individuals and they are easy to perform.
Let's now take a look at some other stories making the news around the country as well. Well, the 14th National Street Food Festival kicked off at Delhi's Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium on Saturday. Touted as the country's biggest street food festival, it features 300 vendors from across India serving over 500 dishes. This year, special efforts are being made to enhance the livelihoods of street food vendors. The UCMA's International Competition 2024, the world's largest abacus and mental arithmetic event, was held for the second time in India. Over 6,000 participants from 30 countries showcased their skills, solving 200 mathematical questions in just 8 minutes. Gulmarg in Jammu and Kashmir has transformed into a winter wonderland after fresh snowfall, attracting foreign skiers and adventure enthusiasts. Tourists are soaking in the breathtaking views of snow-clad mountains, enjoying the chilly weather and praising the region's natural beauty and warm hospitality. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. India's President Draupadi Murmu witnesses the President's Polo Cup in Delhi. And rain disrupts the opening day of the Brisbane Test between India and Australia.
So we begin our journey exploring the factories where cricket gear is made, uncovering the process that has made Meerut famous worldwide.
Meerut was one area which was allocated for sports industry.
They have done very well, they are making a cricket bat, cricket ball, RB pads, leather goods.
All around the world, they get their bats made in India. So you can imagine the kind of work they put in, and it's not an easy job.
There is a lot of hard work, a lot of craftsmanship, a lot of precision that goes inside the product.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I am Gautam Roy. Now, the UK, Italy and Japan have launched a joint venture to develop a supersonic next-generation fighter jet by 2035, replacing the Eurofighter Typhoon. Britain's BAE Systems, Italy's Leonardo and Japan Aircraft Industrial Enhancement Company Limited will each hold a 33.3% share in the new venture, marking a pivotal moment for the international aerospace and defence industry, according to Chief Executive of Britain's BAE Systems, Charles Woodburn. The venture will bring together the significant strengths and expertise of the companies involved to create an innovative organization that will lead the way in developing a new next-generation combat air system. Bangladesh is observing Martyred Intellectuals Day to honor the hundreds of teachers, doctors, journalists and intellectuals brutally killed by Pakistani forces and their local collaborators on the 14th of December back in 1971. President Mohammad Shahabuddin and interim government head Dr. Muhammad Yunus paid tributes at the Martyred Intellectuals Memorial in Mirpur alongside leaders and citizens. The victims were taken blindfolded, tortured and executed, with mass killings discovered after Bangladesh's independence on the 16th of December 1971. And time now to get you some sporting updates as well. Well, first up, rain forced early stumps at Gabba, and Australia ended day one of the third Border Gavaskar Trophy test in Brisbane on 28 for the loss of no wickets. Earlier, India won the toss and opted to field. Australian openers Usman Khawaja and Nathan McSweeney negotiated the new ball well until the play was called off. It could be a series-deciding game as both the teams are level at 1-1, with Australia making a remarkable comeback through the pink ball test that took place in Adelaide. India started the series with a dominating 295-run victory, but the hosts bounced back with a stunning 10-wicket win. India's President Draupadi Murmu witnessed the President's Polo Cup in Delhi, where the President's bodyguard team defeated the Lancers 6-5. The event featured equestrian trick riding and jumping displays. President Murmu facilitated the winners, celebrating sportsmanship and India's polo heritage.
President of India Draupadi Murmu attended the President's Polo Cup exhibition match at the President's Parade Ground in Delhi on Saturday. The match was played between the President's bodyguard team and Lancers. The game began with a ceremonial ball throw-in by President Draupadi Murmu. Polo, typically divided into 4 chakkars of 7.5 minutes each, saw an intense battle between the teams. Team Lancers opened the scoring in the first chakkar and soon doubled their lead. However, the President's bodyguard team made a strong comeback in the second chakkar, scoring 3 goals. In the final chakkar, the President's bodyguard team maintained their dominance and clinched the match with a 6-5 victory. President Draupadi Murmu felicitated and runners-up during the prize distribution ceremony.
It was a very close game from the beginning. The other team managed to take a lead in the beginning of the match, but we have a good team and we all played together after a long time. So because of that, I think it took a little bit of time for us to get our coordination right. And once we started having better coordination, we did better while the match progressed. And luckily, in the end of the match, we managed to take a lead by 1 and the match finished in our favor. So we're very happy for that.
And the ground was playing very fast, so I think it was anyone's game. If you made one little error or someone got out, it was a goal for the other team.
The riders of the President's bodyguard regiment performed equestrian displays, trick riding and jumping routines, showcasing their skills. The event displayed the spirit of sportsmanship and highlighted the rich tradition of polo in India. Narayan Singh's report, DD India.
Now, Ice Hockey League is returned for the second season in Ladakh from the 2nd of January to the 9th next year. This league is aimed at enabling India's participation in the 2042 Winter Olympics. Along with exciting sports action, the league provides a platform to highlight Ladakh's breathtaking winter landscapes and rich cultural heritage.
We want to ensure we have a team that will represent India in the Olympics. That's our dream.
The Ice Hockey League is set to return from 2nd January to the 9th next year in Ladakh, aiming to take the sport to new heights. The inaugural season of the league witnessed an incredible turnout of over 6,000 fans. An event to create awareness about the Ice Hockey League was organized in New Delhi by the administration of the Union Territory of Ladakh and the Ice Hockey Association of Ladakh. On this occasion, the official trophy and jerseys for the league's second season were unveiled on Saturday at the Travancore Palace. This league opens new avenues for athletes and boosts tourism in the region. It also aims to elevate Indian ice hockey on the global stage with the ultimate goal of enabling India's participation in the 2042 Winter Olympics.
When you are talking about the dream 2042, there's no harm, dreaming big. 1942 is way back, and we dare to dream. Yes, we will definitely be there in the Olympics 42. But the most important thing that what I feel ever since I've been there, that we need a permanent structure to play hockey all the year through.
The event saw participation from prominent sportspersons including 6-time Winter Olympian Shiva Keshavan and former goalkeeper of India's women ice hockey team Noor Jahan. They highlighted the government's role in providing athletes with new equipment.
Doing a great job already by giving a platform. We can think of more new ways to get equipment, even at a basic level. It does not have to be international competitive, but the first step is important. अगर आप first step दोगे तो आप देखोगे कि athlete अपने आप बढ़ेगा.
Our UT administration of Ladakh and our Hill Council, which is called Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council, they are taking they have realized the importance of this sport now, and what they're doing is they're providing equipments to the players. A lot of organizations, they have provided equipment free of cost. Although these equipments are really expensive, they have provided it free of cost.
The league will feature 15 teams, 10 men's and 5 women's, competing over 8 days at the Nawang Dorje Stopdan Stadium in Leh. In addition to the thrilling sports action, the league offers a platform to showcase Ladakh's stunning winter landscapes and vibrant cultural heritage. Faiz Khan's report, DD India.
The 10th edition of Quizable North Zone Finals was held in New Delhi on Saturday for children and youth with disabilities. Children from states of Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh participated in the event. Quizable is a unique and first of its kind initiative in India where children and youth with disabilities can showcase knowledge and learning abilities. The main purpose of this program is to provide a platform for knowledge development, to raise awareness by dispelling myths about the potential of children and youth with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Now, the World Anti-Doping Agency has confirmed that tennis star Yannick Sinner's doping case will not have a decision from the Court of Arbitration for Sport before the end of this year. The Italian world number 1 twice tested positive for traces of the banned substance clostebol in March but was exonerated and allowed to carry on playing. An independent tribunal at the end of August, requested by the International Tennis Integrity Agency, found that Sinner bears no fault or negligence. The ITIA accepted Sinner's explanation that the drug entered his system when his physiotherapist used a spray containing it to treat a cut and then provided massage and sports therapy to the player. Now, India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platforms. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audiences. If you also want great content for free, then download Waves today. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India NewsHour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India NewsHour.